All right, guys, good morning and welcome to another episode of Paving the Way. I am your host, Daniel Wright, and I am very grateful for you joining me for our 119th episode of Paving the Way. Guys, it's as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you this morning or this afternoon or tonight or whenever it is that you're listening to this or watching it. But nonetheless, I'm happy that you're here with me, and hopefully we're going to get a little bit better together. So, guys, as you guys know, for the ones who've been listening and for the ones who are maybe new, this show that I've started doing for the last year and a half or so is to really just document my journey as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a husband, as a dog dad, as a friend, a mentee, a mentor, whatever it may be, but just to kind of document the journey of what we're doing here in our company, what I'm doing here in my life, and to hopefully pave the way to make it a little bit easier and a little bit smoother for the people who come behind me. I know that I've gotten here with the help of people who've been ahead of me. They say that, we are, there's a saying that I'm going to botch about, we were raised up on the shoulders of the giants who went before us. And I hope that one day that I'll be the shoulders that someone else can stand on to get a little bit further than what I was able to accomplish. But nonetheless, we're not going to get them there if I'm just babbling about what I'm here to talk about. So today we're going to talk about communication and how it is very important to increase your communication as the velocity of your business increases. You guys know that I'm huge on communication. I'm huge on the 3 C's of communication: clarity, consistency, and conciseness. And so we're going to touch on those a little bit today, how it's relevant to the day-to-day operations of a business as it's growing and excelling day in and day out, and the importance of communication. So without further ado, guys, let's get started. All right, guys, welcome back. And if you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple iTunes and you're not watching the video, that intro is probably 22 seconds of like just weird random music. So I encourage you to check it out on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, because there is a video that goes along with it, a little bit of an intro video that my man Randy in the media department put together. He is killing it, crushing it every day. And if you guys saw the little teaser I put out last night, you can see that today I am flying solo on getting this whole podcast set up and put together for you guys. Normally I try to, get him to stay a little extra on Tuesdays to get, help get this set up and get the podcast recorded. But nonetheless, we're here flying solo tonight and making it happen for you. So, guys, again, I appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate you for hanging out. I love the comments, the shares, the likes, that I've been getting on some of these posts. And because genuinely, guys, that's the only way that more people are going to hear the message. You hear it, you listen to it, you appreciate it, and I'm sure there's probably somebody in your life who would do the same. So that's my only ask out of this whole podcast, is just that you would share the message, because in all genuineness, that is the only reason I'm doing this, is to try and help more people get to where they want to go a little bit faster and a little bit easier than what I had to do it. So to get into the topic we got today, guys, I'm going to be kind of going over, like I said, the 3 C's of communication again, but also why it's important to increase that communication when the velocity of your business increases. What do I mean when I say that the velocity of your business increases, right? Some people could say that it's the speed of your business, the growth of your business, the trajectory of it, whatever it is. But from what I recall back in my schooling days, velocity is kind of the combination of all those things, right? Because let's face it, as entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders, whatever we may be here, there's times where we feel like we are a flipping asteroid flying through space at an extremely high rate of speed, right? But that asteroid that's flipping and turning and moving at a fast rate of speed, that is velocity, right? It's something that is moving in a certain direction at a certain speed. And in business, we go through periods where our velocity is higher than others, right? Our trajectory is going faster than others. And we want to make sure that we're keeping up with that. Because if you start getting too fast, right, just like a car running down a track, you start getting too fast and things just get a little wobbly. They get a little out of control. They get a little bit haywire. And you start thinking and wondering, do I really have control of this machine that I'm in charge of driving right now? And the truth is a lot of times we don't, because we lose track of where we're at, where we're heading, what's around us, so on and so forth. what's the best way to actually keep a grip on everything that's around you, everything that's coming, everything that's behind you? What's the best way to keep a grip on all that when you're running at a very high velocity? Well, at this point in your business, if you're running that fast, you probably have a team around you, be my assumption. May not be a big old C-suite or, a whole org chart with 100 people in it and all sorts of things like that. It could be 2, 3 people or 20 or 30 people. But nonetheless, you have people around you. And every day they show up and they work and they grind towards, the goal that you guys have as a company. They're all on their own missions as well. And so there's a good chance that if you're feeling like that your rate of speed, that your rate of progression is extremely fast and perhaps a little wobbly, there's a good chance they feel like that as well. And so the only way to actually know what's going on in each other's worlds is to, you guessed it, communicate. Now, I know some contractors, I know some business owners who say, forget the communication, just show up, do your work, don't ask questions, and come back and do it all again the next day. It'll all be fine. Well, how's that working out for you? You've probably got a little bit more gray hair than you had before. You probably have a little less hair than you had before. You probably have higher blood pressure. You probably have a worse relationship, a worse marriage, worse company culture, worse company morale, because you don't actually take the time to communicate with your team. Not just communicating in the way of saying, hey, Joe, how's your day going? Do you have a good weekend, whatever? No. Hey, Joe, what you got on the schedule for this week? What's it look like for you? How'd last week go? What went good? What went bad? Anything I can help with in my department, or anything Steve can help with in his department, or Sherry in her department, whatever it may be. And so you want to make sure that the communication that you're having with your team on a regular basis covers those 3 C's that we've talked about, right? The first one is clarity. You want to make sure that your communication has clarity behind it, that conversation that you have, the report that you're giving, the meetings that you're having are very clear. There's a specific reason to communicate about these certain topics, whether it's scheduling, whether it's sales, whether it's, company morale and outings and things like that are coming up, marketing, any of those things that take up, the time and energy and effort of a company. You want to make sure that those conversations and the communication you're having around it is very clear. Make sure you have an objective going into that conversation. Make sure that you cover the basis that you need to cover, and make sure that when you come out of it, that you have action items that you can give, a read back to the people that you are communicating with of what they expect out of you and what you expect out of them. Because if you don't make sure that you're clear in the communication you have, then it was all unfortunately pointless, believe it or not. So make sure that communication that you're having is extremely clear. The next is make sure it's concise, right? Yours truly, and I'm sure that, some people are watching or listening to this that are going to be shaking their head furiously here in a moment. Yours truly can get very deep in a rabbit hole when I'm communicating about various things, right? When I'm having discussions about, a project that we have coming up or a project that we completed, and I have all my opinions about it and I have my perspectives about it, and I can just mosey right on down this rabbit hole of just talking, really, like to a point probably where I'm just talking to talk. And then I look around and there's kind of some blank stares at me, or people just nodding their head, like they're robots. But you have to make sure that you actually check yourself when you're talking about things to people. Because if you start going down a rabbit hole, if you start beating a dead horse, if you start doing these things that loses the interest of the people you're trying to communicate with, you are effectively not getting your message across. They're not wanting to listen to you anymore. They are tuning you out. They're only hearing what they want to hear because your message is not concise and to the point. You need to get there. You need to be clear about it, like I said, but you need to just get to the point, especially when your business is moving at a high velocity, right? Because as those things are moving faster, time is money. Time is extremely valuable. So the time that you're taking to communicate about these things needs to be very clear and concise. You need to get to the point, make sure they understand it, make sure you understand them, and then move on to the next thing, right? And then that last one is consistent, right? You want to make sure that you're communicating consistently. At our company at Proline, we've implemented weekly leadership meetings with myself, head of operations, sales, and marketing. We've implemented these weekly meetings for probably the last, I'd probably say year and a half at least. And we do them every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. That's when we do them. That's when it works for everybody. It gives us a time to get the week started. So that way we kind of know how the week's going. And it still gives us a little bit of time to finish the week. So that way we can talk about anything that may be coming up. But you want to make sure that it's a consistent cadence that you're getting in for communication with your team. All right. And like I said, the weekly ones that we do is for the leadership team, because if you get too many cooks in the kitchen, then everybody wants to have a say in something and then nothing gets accomplished. And you end up not being consistent, or you're not being concise and not being clear. So some of those meetings are reserved for specific individuals who need to have specific conversations. Now, this year, we have done a better job at having consistent company monthly meetings. We do them the first Wednesday of every month. That way we get the whole company together. I can give updates from an owner's perspective. We give operations a chance to give any updates to the company, marketing, whatever they're working on, admin, let them update on everybody. And then as well as the whole rest of the team, if there's anything that people have questions about, they want to give any suggestions, ideas, whatever it might be, we do that. We do some other things in those meetings to help with, company morale and culture and so on and so forth that we've implemented this year. And it's a lot of fun. I actually do look forward to those company meetings, because with the rate of speed that we've been going lately, it's rare that we get everybody in our company in one room at the same time. So we have those monthly, we have our quarterly company outings. So you get in a cadence to where you're able to communicate with your team on a regular basis, because there is nothing more vital that when things start moving faster, when the vision starts coming to life and it gets bigger and bigger, your team needs you to communicate. They need it. They don't want it. They don't hope for it. They need it, right? And there's times where, as the leader, you're going to have to force the communication to happen, because there are some people who they would prefer to just come in, be left alone, do their job, and go home. But like I said, it's not that they always want the communication. They need it. So make sure that you're getting in a consistent cadence with communicating within your team. Now, if you have a larger company where you have an entire sales team, maybe 3, 5, 10 people on your sales team, have specific conversations with them on a regular basis. Make sure that team is unified. Make sure you're all on the same page, marching to the beat of the same drum and working towards the same common goal. Because when you get a group of people moving towards the same goal, you're going to get there a whole lot faster. And truthfully, it's going to be a whole lot easier, right? Because everybody's working together, pulling in the same direction. So to recap those, it's making sure that you're clear, you're consistent, and you're concise in your communication. Now, why is it that I'm talking about the velocity increasing, right? If you guys have been following along this year specifically, you know that our company, along with a lot of other companies across the entire country and across all different industries, have just had an odd year. It started off kind of slow. We started getting approvals of projects we weren't really planning on because the economy was slowing down. It was just a weird year. And so we're like, okay, well, let's, pivot, move, do this, do that, and blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever we pivoted and moved, it worked, because here we are halfway through the year and we got the afterburners on, right? We are, getting approvals for projects left and right. We're having requests and truthfully some demands from clients left and right that we're having to field and filter through and try and make sure that we're not over promising and under delivering. So nonetheless, the velocity of the business is increasing. We're putting out more proposals on a weekly basis. We're getting more projects approved on a weekly basis, and we have more moving parts on a weekly basis. So we're having to manage, to oversee, and to make sure that things are moving as smoothly as possible. And so when you do that, you sometimes forget to actually communicate with your team members around you. And it's of no, intentionality behind it. You're not trying to avoid them. You're not trying to not inform them. You're just moving at a rate so fast that it's so easy to forget to pass along that message, or to give that update about that project, or to relay that conversation that you had on site with the client that they needed some change orders or things like that. And so the more that you have that consistent, concise, and clear communication, the less things that are going to fall through the cracks. We all see the contractors that get so busy. They're so booked out. They're running 100 miles an hour, working 100 hours a week, which I don't condone, by the way. It's not conductive by any means. But they do this, and then they can't figure out why they're not getting ahead. They can't figure out why they just feel like they're spinning their wheels. And there may be a lot of various different aspects to why that's happening, right? Maybe it's the wrong team members. Maybe they don't have processes. Maybe they don't have a good, back office support. But a lot of it's probably because they just aren't communicating very well with the team they do have. So like I said earlier, whether it's a team of 5 or whether it's a team of 50, the communication has to increase as the velocity of the company increases. You want to make sure that that's staying a top priority, because what's one of the first things that gets canceled when work gets busy? Meetings. Everybody hates meetings. But if those meetings are productive, if they contribute to company culture, morale, clarity, efficiency, productivity, purpose, fulfillment, all these things that are non-tangible items in your company that you need to have in check to run, if they contribute to those, then those meetings are one of the most vital things that you're doing. Now, on the flip side, if your meetings are completely pointless, if they're just turned into gripe and complain sessions, if they're, not productive and they're not actually like moving the ball forward after you're done with it, then you probably do need to go ahead and cancel those meetings. So you either need to cancel them or restructure them to make them productive. That's something that when I got into entrepreneurship, I said, I'm never having meetings. That's pointless. We just need to stay busy, do the work, make it happen, blah, blah, blah. And here we are, 8 years later. I have a lot of meetings. My schedule is actually full of meetings, whether it's meetings with clients, meetings with other team members, meetings with our vendors, meetings with suppliers, meetings with myself, whatever it is. There's just a lot of meetings that actually take place. So I've come around to it. I've learned that they are important. They do have a value, and they definitely make life a lot easier on a day-to-day basis. So, guys, that's my message for you this week. It's a pretty short, sweet, and to the point one, but nonetheless, I just want to encourage you guys, because if you're in my space, in my industry, in the pavement world, this time of year, late July, early August, everybody's been grinding, right? We've all been pushing hard. We've all been putting the pedal to the metal, and we've all been just trying to do the best we can. What happens this time of year? We all get tired. July and August is the time of year where teams start getting tired. They start getting wore out. It's becoming a little bit mundane or monotonous, in the day-to-day operations. But nonetheless, this is where the communication just has to increase. Take the time out of your day, take the time out of your week, and communicate with your team. Communicate with yourself. Have a meeting to actually iron out what you're working on, where you're trying to get to, and keep yourself focused and centered on what that vision is you're trying to achieve. Because as long as you can stay clear on your vision as the leader, the rest of the team will be able to stay clear on the vision for the company. And that's ultimately why the communication is so important. Making sure that you keep that vision clear. Because no matter how busy things get, how hard things get, how hot things get, how frustrating things get, as long as you have the vision clear for your company and everybody's winning as a result of achieving that vision, then things will continue to move in the direction you need them to move. So that's my message for you today, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, share it with somebody, throw in a like, a comment, interact with it somehow. Tell me it sucks. I really don't care. Just give me some love. But guys, I look forward to seeing y'all next week. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week this week. And as always, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.